Well, a kind of funny story, because when I went to Romania, I had never ever wanted to go outside of the United States, ever. And my husband knew that. I didn't want to ever get a passport. I never wanted to go outside of the United States. When the Romania trip came up, the college students kind of challenged the congregation to send some extras, non-college age students or non-college people to go. And I kind of elbowed him. I'm like, I think I want to do that. And he's like, you know, that's outside of the United States, right? I'm like, yeah. And so we had gone home, you know, it's a 2.5 week trip. We had all 4 kids at that time. It was going to be right before they went to school. So kind of just went home and started talking about it. We're like, what am I thinking? That's crazy. I can't be gone for 3 weeks right before school starts with 4 kids at home and take off 3 weeks of work. And so I told Brent, I was like, I'm going to tell Justin, no, I can't do this. And so we get to church the next Sunday, and the whole time I'm like, tell him no, tell him no, tell him no. And he comes up to me and he's like, so what do you think? Are you going to do this? And I'm like, yes. It was like my voice, my words were changed. And so every time I tried to say no, something came over me that made me say yes. And so I really feel like it was God's way of getting me out of my comfort zone. I'm a control freak. I admit it. So it was really just being able to step out of that box of doing something different. And somebody had asked me when I went to Romania, like, why not just help here in the United States? There's so many things to help here. And I think there are so many people that are willing to do it here. There's not as many people that are willing to do it somewhere else. And so I was one of those. And I thought, if I can do it somewhere else, I'm going to. If I have the means and the ability to go somewhere overseas, I'm going to do that. So with Aviana, starting with this trip to Tanzania, it kind of stems back to my trip from Romania. During one of our Skyping sessions, I had told Brent that every spoiled, rotten teenager needed to come to Romania because it's humbling. It's horrible to see some of the conditions they have to live in. And I think our kids are, they do get spoiled. They have food regularly, those sorts of things. And so Aviana had kind of gone through a little bout of, I would say, depression. As she gets a little older, she remembers some stuff that happened to her in the first 5 years of her life. And it's been a struggle just for her to kind of understand those feelings. She'd kind of gone through, I asked permission to say some of the things that I am going to say, but she kind of went through a pity party of, my life is horrible. I've been through so much. No one's problems are as big as mine. And so Brent and I were laying in bed one night, and I just am like, what are we going to do with her? And she had started getting a little more, she was talking back a little more, kind of rolling her eyes at us, that sort of thing. And so we were just struggling as to what do we do to show her that it doesn't have to be about where you started. You can make those changes. You can make decisions that make it better. And so he said, well, you said every spoiled, rotten teenager should go to Romania. And I'm like, a mission trip. What a great idea. So kind of the next morning then ran it by her, and she started thinking about it and had come up with this, it's called Nima House, and it's in Arusha, Tanzania. And she had asked, she said, Mom, is that something I could do? Could we go there? So the ball's been rolling from there. So. Yeah, Romania, it was all the focus. It was basically like a Bible study. It was like a vacation Bible school is basically what we did with a gypsy village. Tanzania is going to be a little different because they're infants. So the babies themselves aren't necessarily going to be able to understand the gospel, but they're going to feel Jesus' love just because we're going and we're giving them some one-on-one attention that they don't normally get. The nannies there, they do have a Christian base. The people that started Nima House are from Texas, and so they do have a Christian basis, but they get frustrated really easily because of the world that they live in. And so we're going to encourage them. We will do some Bible stuff with them, but we're just really going to love on the babies and just show them that God's love comes in different ways. And so Aviana was kind of worried about that. She's like, Mom, I don't know a lot of scripture. I don't know a lot of verses. Like, what if somebody asks me? And I said, honey, you just do the best that you can. And I said, I'm not that great with it either, but it doesn't mean that we can't go and love on these babies. Yeah. So right now the ratio for the babies is 1 to 13. So there's one nanny that takes care of 13 infants. So think about taking care of twins or triplets or even quadruplets, and they have 13 babies for one nanny. So we're just going to go and we do support staff. We're going to love on those babies and give them all the attention that we possibly can. I've said many times that when I went to Romania, I felt like I was going to change the world. I'm going to fix all these people, and I'm going to get them to, come to Christ. And I really had this. I had a, I don't know, superhuman complex that I was just going to go accomplish all this stuff. And I got there, and I have to say that I was a little discouraged because I felt like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And really, kind of looking back at the whole experience, it changed me more than I changed anything there. I hope that I had some sort of eternal effect. I hope that I get to see that someday, that I get to see one of the children that we played with, whatever. I hope I get to see them in heaven one day or something. Yeah. And know that maybe I had something to do with that. But now it changed me way more than I changed anything there. Just having a different perspective on the things that we have here in the United States, and that's not the focus of life. As long as I have Jesus and my family, like I'm good, and so you really see that when you go into a country that just has very little. Going to Tanzania, I'm kind of hoping that gives Aviana some perspective also. Of course, I'm looking forward to it myself, and just a reminder that God's in control. And that's like when I said that I couldn't say no to Justin, there was so much of me that I want to control, and it's something that I really had to give up to God. And we went to church right before I left for Romania, and I cried through the entire service. Everyone's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, I'm just crying. I don't know if I'm scared or excited. But it was really just God stepping into my life and going, "You need to do this." And so I'm hoping that it gives Aviana, kind of a world perspective of life. We've always tried to teach the kids to serve in some way, whether that be opening a car door, carrying out someone's groceries, something like that. So I hope that someday that they can all experience some sort of mission trip and really get a perspective on how the world really is.